Hello, my good friends. John Michaelides here. It is Thursday, December 10th. I can't hardly say December 10th. It doesn't feel like December 10th, but it is December 10th, 2009, almost 2010. The first decade of the 2000s is gone. Incredible. I started the decade a young, good-looking, skinny man. And here I am a decade later, man. Hell to pay. Hope you had a fantastic week. You know that I did. Got some good news today. We've had an approval from a first mortgage for over a month, but trying to get an approval for the second HELOC loan from Bank of America has been tough. And we finally got a letter today with an amount that they will accept. So we forwarded that off to the first, and we'll see how that goes. But that was good news. Other good news today, we had a property that, two-story property in a flood zone. Basically, the ground floor was condemned, meaning the code enforcement people say you can't have living space down there. It's all got to be tore out. I talked about this a few weeks ago, and obviously, when you take away half of a property's square footage, you got to reduce the value greatly, plus the cost of mitigating. So obviously, the offer was greatly reduced. Well, bank went into shock, closed the file. I got them to reopen the file. They closed it again. I finally got them to reopen the file, and it's being assigned to a negotiator. They understand it now. We talked on the phone with them for probably 20 minutes today, and they get it. They understand the property's got issues, and the old price isn't ever going to return. So that was good. Good, productive day. I wound up firing two of my three negotiators this week. I tell you what, if I wasn't such a happy, positive person, which you gotta be if you're in the short sale business, because it really does take 7 months. It really can take 9 months. It really can take a full year to close a deal. So if you aren't a positive, proactive, patient person, you're not gonna cut it in this business. But if you have the stick-to-itiveness, you make a lot of cash. Anyways, if I weren't the positive person that I am, my faith in humanity would be crushed. But it isn't. If you recall, a few months back, I had to let a negotiator, my first and at the time only negotiator, go because they weren't doing what they said they were doing. They wouldn't use my database online. They kept notes on sticky papers. They just weren't getting it done. So I made the commitment when I take on negotiators, I am going to watch them like a hawk. Watch them like a hawk meant, very simply, you must put your updates into my online software package. I would use Short Sale Commander. Go on my website if you want the link to it and check it out. And you must make a touch to each file, meaning you must make a call to each file once a week at least. And you must update the online. I figured that'd be enough accountability. Every week, Friday, go in, log in, and I can see what the negotiators, where they're at on each deal. Okay, but I took it a step further. I decided to go through each file that I had to sign this one pair of negotiators and call myself. Nothing was getting done. I mean, they'd have a note in there. On this date, I faxed, da-da-da-da. When I called, we never got a fax from you guys. I had one customer service rep say, we sent you a counter offer on 11/17. We've been waiting to hear from you. But you go in the notes from the negotiator, what's it say? I called, still in queue to be assigned. Week later, I called, still in queue. In other words, they were just going in, typing something. They didn't call. If they called, they would have known there was a counter offer 3 weeks ago. So my point is, I let them go. Now, they've only been on the payroll, so to speak, month and a week, I think. But you gotta stay on top of these negotiators, and you've got to follow up. And the odds are 9 out of 10 are going to be worthless. Such is life. You find a good one and you stick to them like gold. I've got one good negotiator as of now. Talked to her for a good 30 minutes on the phone today. She's actually got a counter offer on one of her deals, and we decided what we're going to counter back, and we think we'll have a closing on that one fairly soon. In the short sale game, fairly soon means within 8 weeks, right? 2 months to 3 months. But anyways, I want to remind you guys that are in this game. You just either short sales are here to stay for the next decade or they're not. I believe they are. If you believe they are too, then this is the game to be in, right? So you got to figure out how to be in it. Look, we're not going to do anything to speed up the banks. We're not going to make these deals close in 30 days. It's not going to happen. It's a 7-month deal. Can they close in 3 months? Yeah. But will they generally? No. So you got to be in the game long term, and you got to believe that the system works. You've got to believe that at the end of 7 months, 8 months, 9 months of weekly calls with nothing happening, that you'll finally get a closing. I believe that. You know, this is the precedent for this kind of stick-to-itiveness isn't unheard of. You guys have all heard of Thomas Edison. He's a guy who invented a few things like the light bulb, like the motion picture, like the phonograph, like the dictaphone. You know how many light bulb experiments? Over 1,000. Over 1,000 light bulb experiments before you hit on it. You know what someone asked before he had hit on it? When he was 800 failures, they asked him, how does it feel to have failed at making the light bulb? 800 times. You're trying and you failed 800 times. He said, I didn't fail 800 times. I figured out 800 ways not to do it. Interesting mindset. You guys all heard of Colonel Sanders, right? Colonel Sanders, the chicken guy, KFC. You know, he was over 60 when he started that. You know why he started KFC? Because he saw that his initial Social Security check, and you got to remember, this is a while back, was going to be $65 a month. He said, I'm not living on $65 a month. And he sat down and took stock of himself and said, what do I have to offer the world? The only thing he could think of was Grandma's chicken recipe. Okay, how do I make money off Grandma's chicken recipe? He hit the road for a year. He'd travel, he'd walk into a restaurant and say, I got a chicken recipe. I want to try it want to cook it for you. I think it could bring big business. He'd go in, he'd cook up chicken, and guess what? That's how he ate. He'd eat their chicken in exchange for cooking up a meal for him. So anyways, he over 1,000 restaurants he went to before one finally said, yeah, I'll license this recipe. What would have happened if on the 600th rejection he said no? There'd be no worldwide global company called Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, what if on the 900th he said no? Or the 1,000th? I think it was over 1,200. How many people would have quit after 200 and said, hey man, I tried. You can't say I didn't try. Well, if you would have tried 1,000 more times, you'd have had a global empire. But you didn't. So anyway, everybody, stick to it. Stay positive. It's a great business. And talk to you next week. Bye-bye.